Week 9 of our online English 102 mini session course. This is Professor Valerie Pell at Wilbur Wright and Harold Washington Colleges. As you can tell, our class is really speeding to an end. With only a few weeks left, we're really getting into the nitty-gritty of our papers. This week, students will write their counter-argument and rebuttal section of their papers. It's really important as we do this that you introduce your opposition fairly and graciously before refuting their side. If you don't do that, you'll end up sounding biased, and you don't want to sound biased in your paper. You want to sound fair-minded. This week, students will also return to Peer Mark 8 to give feedback to their peers on their first thesis support sections. Make sure that when you give your feedback, you meet the minimum word count. Peer review is very important. Giving feedback to your peers helps you critically think about the rubric that will be used to score your own work. It will allow you to understand the expectations to which you'll be held. Additionally, this is where you and your peers will receive formative feedback on your drafts before going to the Writing Center and before submitting your final summative draft. If you give thoughtful, meaningful feedback, you're more likely to receive some of the same caliber. Finally, we also have a quiz this week that will cover the new readings and materials and have a review section. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at any time. So let's begin and look exactly at what you need to do this week. We always start by looking at the activity schedule. So for the activity schedule for week 9, we should watch the YouTube video on MLA paraphrases. Then we should read the Babin paraphrase section. That's pages 124 to 126 of the book or 134 to 136 of the PDF. Depends on how you're searching for it. Then in Little Seagull Handbook, you should read section W4A through W4D, developing paragraphs. Then also read the Glynn, Chapter 6, Organizing Between and Within Paragraphs, pages 41 through 43. Now the Babin and the Glynn are both in the content readings. Let's take a look at that so we make sure we know how to find them. When we come into content, we see that there is a reading submodule, and we don't want the week 2 Food Matters readings, we want the regular readings. Once we're here, we see that they're alphabetized by the first word. So there's Babin, and here's Glynn. Okay, so those are the things that you're supposed to encounter to be able to help you with your graded activities. Your first graded activity is Peer Mark 9. Let's take a look at that. So Peer Mark 9, you're going to be writing your counter-argument and rebuttal draft this week, just that section of your paper. And you're going to be giving peer feedback on Peer Mark 8. Okay, so the first thing you should do is give your feedback to Peer Mark 8. So to do that, we return to Content and go to Peer Mark. We come to the Partial Drafts subfolder, and you'll click on Peer Mark 8. And the Peer Mark reviews will be lit up with a little red dot so that you can give feedback to your peers. Since I'm in the testing ground now as a fake student, there are no reviews here, but yours will have a red dot and you will be able to come back here to Peer Mark 8 and give your reviews. Then write your counter argument and rebuttal section. Make sure you format your paper according to the mandatory paper formatting guide, particularly using Courier New 12-point font and double space. Then begin your paper with the student and activity information, which includes your name, course with section, date, and activity name. Peer Mark 9, counter argument and rebuttal draft. On a new line, label and state your essay's counter argument. On a new line, label and state your essay's thesis. On a new line, create a heading that says counter argument and rebuttal section. Then on a new line and with multiple paragraphs, compose the second section of your research paper, which will fairly provide the evidence in support of your opposition and then rebut or refute those ideas or claims. Make sure that you fairly present the opposition before rebutting or refuting their claims. You need to sound fair-minded. This section of your paper should be multiple paragraphs and range in page length from about 1.5 pages to 2 pages, maybe 2.5 pages, so about 400 to 600 words. It should synthesize multiple sources from your research and integrate them using MLA in-text citations. So you need to make sure that this section of your paper does, in fact, use sources. It should be just as well researched as any other section of your paper. Then, on a new page, and make sure you insert a page break, include an MLA Works Cited page for the sources listed in that section of your paper. Okay, this is what you will submit to Peer Mark 9. So we gave feedback in Peer Mark 8, and then you will submit this here in Peer Mark 9. By uploading the submission. Okay, the next thing you want to do is to make a writing center or writing lab appointment. Now, I've been talking about this for several weeks, and I just want to remind you that many of the writing centers or writing labs are now taking virtual appointments. Wilbur Wright College definitely will allow you to have a virtual appointment, and you can make an appointment ahead of time. You don't have to just walk in and wait. So please double check the announcements for class so that you can make those appointments. The more appointments you go to, you will receive extra credit. So you have to go to at least one appointment between weeks 8 and weeks 11 of our course. That's worth 25 points. If you go a second time, that's worth another 25 points of extra credit. If you go through another time, that's another 25 points worth of extra credit. So if you excuse me, consistently make these appointments over the next few weeks and go to one each week, you will be increasing your grade exponentially. 25 points is a lot of extra credit. So make sure that you take advantage of this opportunity. When you go, you will be having most likely grades first reports of your appointments. Take a screenshot of each record of your grades first appointments, and because you will be using those and submitting them to this assignment that's going to be due in week 11. So it's not due this week, it's not due for a couple more weeks, but I want to put it on your radar and remind you it's so useful for you to get this feedback that I want to incentivize you going by giving you all of that extra credit. Then week 9, there's also the quiz. We know where quizzes are. If we come to assessments, take the week 9 quiz. And then we also have our synchronous session this week. Please check the syllabus for the date and specific time, but we will have it this week, and it will be an open forum like normal where you can ask questions of me and get whatever feedback that you're looking for. Okay, so that's all for this week. Great work so far, everybody. I'm really looking forward to seeing at your progress as you keep writing your paper a little bit at a time. Again, this is Professor Valerie Pell. If you need anything, don't hesitate to email me. Have a great day.